Hey, this is Mr. Snyder, and I cannot be with you today, so I wanted to leave you instructions so that you could continue on with your infographic. Yesterday, you sketched it out, you thought about what kind of infographic you want to make, you thought about the topic of your infographic, so you're set up and ready to go to start actually planning your infographic out. And we had a little bit of time at class to actually start, like I said, doing some planning, but we want to get a little more detailed with your planning. So before you plan your infographic today, I want you to analyze another infographic. And to analyze that infographic, we need to do a little bit of imagining, if you will. So close your eyes for me. Yes, I know that's super weird, but close your eyes. And I want you to imagine the game of rock, paper, scissors. Okay, in fact, very quickly, let's imagine that we're playing rock, paper, scissors. You can actually use your hands if you want to. But with your eyes closed, with me, we're going to play rock, paper, scissors. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, shoot. And then we'll go and we'll see who wins. So ready, 1, 2, 3, shoot. I did scissors. I don't know if you won or not, but just imagine kind of the game of rock, paper, scissors. Now keep your eyes closed. And for rock, paper, scissors, if you were going to make an infographic that taught somebody how to always win, start by thinking about what kind of infographic would make the most sense. Is that a timeline? Is that a category? Is that a location? It's most likely probably a process-based. So in that process-based infographic, think about what kinds of graphics you would want to include, what images would be on there. Think about how it could be organized, because you want to lead somebody through the steps of always winning in rock, paper, scissors. So how could you organize those steps? How could you make sure that somebody went from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4? Think about all those things that might be involved. If you go ahead and open up your eyes, let's look at a rock, paper, scissors infographic. Now this infographic is to make sure you win at rock, paper, scissors every time. Look what's on here. We have, of course, here at the top, we have a very clear title so your audience can see exactly what you're looking at. We have all these different graphics and images that deal with rock, paper, scissors, and those are the shape of your hand when you're doing rock, paper, scissors. There is, of course, a little bit of extra information that's on here, like here's about the history of rock, paper, scissors. Here's about the National Rock, Paper, Scissors Champion. There's all kinds of text and things. But this whole infographic, its whole point, its whole entire message is to teach somebody how to win at rock, paper, scissors. And it stays focused on its purpose. So I don't know if you imagine anything that looked similar. I always thought about the different hand signals that were on here. I like the fact that there's the other text, but the whole thing is completely, absolutely focused on that. Now, there's a little bit of fun facts on here because sometimes you can do rock, paper, scissors, Spock, but that is, of course, a different option. So that's what I'm talking about when I say make sure the infographic is actually focusing on what it is. So, and that's what I said. What type is it? What information's on there? What makes that one work? Could there be a way to make that actually any better? So today what you want to make sure you do is that you confirm your data for your infographic. You know exactly what your infographic will cover. This idea of developing a proof of concept, so we're actually going to focus on that one on Friday, so ignore that for today. And then also on Friday, we're going to make sure that we get our PowerPoint all set up to make sure that works. So really just today, we're going to focus on confirming your data. Now, the data you're going to select for your infographic all has to work together. So again, I focus back to yesterday. I asked you to pick a topic. I asked you to pick a type of infographic, and you started sketching that out. So you really have to get more of a sketch before you go on much with your data. Once you have your sketch, you want to think about what you're going to include on there. So first of all, you have to make sure that anything you're including has to coordinate with your infographic. Keep in mind your purpose, your theme, your topic. If you're looking at how your president was involved in a war, everything on there has to deal with that. If you're looking at how your president established a law, all your information deals with that law. You're not also putting where your president was born and when your president died and who your president got married to and the fact that he liked pet alligators. You're not going to include any of that because it doesn't add together with your overall big topic. So you're only going to want to select facts and data and information that relate to the topic that you have. A lot of people always want to include fun facts on an infographic. Fun facts tend to look more like a biography versus everything coordinating with one big idea and with one big topic. So fun facts, even though they're fun, they don't always have a place on infographics. They're a little hard to include, and you have to be very sure that what you're including relates. If, of course, there's a fun fact that goes right with your topic, why not include it? And then arrangement of your facts and ideas and information is very important. It's not just putting a picture with some words on there. It's how you arrange the words. It's how you arrange the images. It's how you make it all look together. And typically, you want to make your infographic look like your topic. So if I see your infographic across the room, even if I can't read the words, I still know what your infographic is going to be about. That's what makes it an infographic, not a poster, not just an essay with some pictures. So here I am in OneNote, and I was in my part. I don't think this is the same notebook I had in front of you yesterday. So I had my part where I was going to sketch it out. Remember, it's going to look like a very large pizza with the slices, and the slices are going to be the categories of my favorite things. So I was going to have books on here. I was going to have movies. I was going to have food. I was going to have places I traveled, all that kind of stuff. And I was going to make the whole thing look like I was eating like a pizza at a pizza restaurant. So maybe there's a fork and a knife, probably a pizza cutter, something like that. It was a very rough sketch, no artistic ability. I want to think about that. There's this part here on layout and structure. I want you just to totally ignore that page. So instead, I want you to just look at graphics. With my sketch, I do want to think a little bit about the graphics I might want to include. So like if I'm doing, talking about books, maybe I just want to get covers of all the books that I'm using. If I'm doing movies, maybe I want to put my movie posters on there. If I'm doing food, maybe I actually want to get images of the food. So any of the images or graphics that you think you're going to need for this project, go ahead and put them on this page in OneNote. That way you have them when you go back to actually needing to do that work. What you want to focus on today after you do your sketching is that you want to work on getting your data. So I wanted to include some of my favorite movies, and I want to then spin this page thinking about, well, what movies am I going to include? So I'd probably have to include, the best movie of all times. I would definitely include Star Wars on there. I think I would do Lord of the Rings. I did like that film a lot. I really like a great horror movie called Zombieland. I think it's hysterical. Those are like my 3 favorite movies. Maybe I think of one more. I might think of my favorite travel locations. I've been to Thailand a couple times now, and I really thought it was great. I love going to Mexico. It's nice and sunny and warm. I love going up to Canada. We always camp up there in the summer. Lots of other places that I like to go, lots of other things I like to do. For games, that would probably be video games, so I would think about like Xbox games that I like. Skyrim's always a great one. There's another one I like called Dead Island, which is another zombie movie. Oh, look, nice zombie connections. I'd probably think of other ones. So for my infographic, because I want to show my favorite things, I would want to think of 3 or 4 favorite things for each of my categories that I would want to make sure I include. So you want to go back to your My Topic tab, and you want to look at all the different pieces of information that you found there, and you want to start pulling out the information and data that actually goes with the infographic that went with your main idea. Mine was going to be about my favorite things, so I want to make sure all my data relates to that. You want to think about what details I would want to include, or you would want to include. Have your data match your sketch. Have it work with the graphics that you want to get. But get the data you need to use here on this data page. So that's a lot of copying and pasting. This will help you later on when you're actually getting into designing your infographic. So that's what you need to do today. Work on getting your data. All right, let me go back to my PowerPoint. Now in your data that you're using, you of course can use charts and graphs. You can make those in Excel. You can even make them in PowerPoint. You can make tables. You can include icons in there. You might need a key for your icons. And then you want to think about how you're going to lay out all that information with the graphics that's there. Your data can be in lots of different formats. You just need to know what data you actually want to include. So we're still not designing, we're still not putting it in PowerPoint, we're still not doing the final product. We need to do all this thinking about it before we actually get into designing and making it look like what's going to look. So here's your task for today. If you need to still research, continue your research. There were a couple people I asked yesterday about what facts they knew, and they were still a little fuzzy. So finish any research you need to. Work on your sketch, either on paper or on OneNote. Have kind of a big idea of what it's going to look like. Doesn't mean you know how you're going to make it look like that. You just know how you want it to look. Make sure you have all the information you need. Make some more notes in OneNote. Find your data you need. Continue with your research. If there's any graphics you think you're going to need to put on your infographic, you can go ahead and find those. Use a Bing image search or other places to be able to find them and actually paste them into OneNote on that page. And then we will start creating your infographic tomorrow. Now you can leave this slide up on the screen so that everyone has kind of an idea of what they need to do. But I will be back tomorrow to help you with the actual PowerPoint setup and to work with step 4, which is the hardest step of all, this thing called developing proof of concepts. I will give you that information tomorrow. Good luck. I look forward to seeing what you create. Thanks.